Chart T3 till a sound boy better stay calm, be cool.
One step another, one step another, one steppers. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, listeners and viewers, welcome back to One Step Away From Podcast. Right? In the first half, we was talking about black in entertainment. We touched on stereotypes, the music media, and in sport, and how it affects how people see us, how we're treated, how we make money, our motivations for doing so. So before we go on, I just want to remind you guys, it's one SAF, One Step Away From Instagram. We're on Facebook, we're on Twitter. You can listen to us on Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcasts, Soundcloud. We're everywhere. All DSPs, all social media sites. You can find us. We're there. Make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to share, make sure to comment. And we're on this thing, yeah? So, fellas, I want to play a game. All right?
Never say that.
From each person, I found this really difficult. I tried it on myself and I found it really difficult. So I want to see how good we can do this collectively. Yeah? It's how much is us? There's 5 of us in the group, yeah? Okay. Each person, name me 2 movies that portray black people positively.
Okay, I'm coming in now. I couldn't find 2 that didn't even have an element of struggle.
Okay.
No, I need to say this.
Predominantly positive.
I need to say this. Like, I could not find 2 that didn't have an element of struggle. Why have you got to struggle? Why have you got to struggle to get to somewhere good? Why have you got to battle and go through hardships and all this? Like, it was crazy when I actually, because in my head, to answer this whole question, in my head, I thought easy. How easy find 2 films, 2 music that I can say is positive, and there's an element of struggle, of hardship, of trauma that we've been through in order to get to there. So can you see it as positive? I guess to some extent, but there's also the message of struggle within that.
Okay, well, it's predominantly positive because I found the same thing as well. So at least had a positive ending. Maybe that might make it a bit easier. I had a positive ending, even though it started off as maybe a negative situation, but something that showed us predominantly in a positive light.
Pursuit of Happiness.
Yeah, John Q.
Yeah, but the struggle in that was real, man.
That was real.
I'm
that
sorry.
Was
that
real.
was
that touched man still.
Do you know what, Coach Carter?
Yep.
Yeah.
Boy.
Stand by me or lean on me. Stand by me or lean on me. Morgan Freeman when he goes into the school.
Lean on me, I think. Because Stand by Me was a group of young boys, weren't they? Yeah. So young white boys, I think they were Stand by Me. So Lean on Me, I would say.
Yeah, lean on me. That's the one. Yeah, when he goes into the school, if he's headmaster.
We're halfway there. We still need 5 more.
Freedom Writers, maybe.
Struggle.
Yeah, I'd say struggle.
To me, that's too much struggle. But I understand it. I will accept that.
Coming to America. Tell me something.
Coming to America.
Okay, I might let you have that one.
Yeah, I'll let you have that one.
Let me have it.
It's where black people owning the franchise. You know, he was a black king. Yeah, I'll let you have that. Okay, that's...
Oh, so if you can have Coming to America, can you have Trading Places?
No.
Nah, I wouldn't.
No way.
Okay.
No way.
Okay.
I understand you're thinking, but I wouldn't.
Get out of here.
Alright, go. See, go. Oh, God.
Come on. 4 more.
I was even looking at Bad Boys, yeah. It's peak. It's peak. We're actually the law this time. And still, we have to be ghetto about it. We got to be underhanded. We got to be a little bit rude.
Yeah.
But you're the law enforcer. You're supposed to be upholding the merits of the country. But you still got, but you still a little bit this and that though. You still got a little bit of swagger to you, a little bit of this.
What about Man on Fire or Equalizer?
Love that film.
Man on Fire. Man on Fire, I'll give you.
Man on Fire, you'll
Man
give me.
on Fire.
I can come back in now, yeah.
No, actually.
But why? Hold on, wait. No. Why was he the hero in Man on Fire though? Because he was sacrificing his life to what?
That's why I said nah. That's why I said nah. Because
I'm done.
Not only that, he was also an alcoholic and he tried to kill himself.
Oh yeah.
No.
You man are going too deep, man. Just let me have that one, yeah.
What about The Best Man? The Best Man.
Yeah. What about Love and Basketball?
Yeah, Love and Basketball. That was on my list.
Yeah.
Boom. I'm in the room.
Actually, saying that.
T-man, allow me. Allow me, please.
Nah, Love and Basketball, the dad wasn't portrayed in a good light.
Nah, he was the.
Yep.
The dad wasn't portrayed in a good light. So no, you can't have Love and Basketball.
No, you can.
Yeah, you can.
One character
Based on a soundtrack alone.
No, the question was.
I don't care what the question was.
Nah.
What about any of those like family films that Ice Cube did, like Barbershop or?
Are we there yet?
Are we there?
Yeah. Are we there? Yeah, I think that's probably the most.
I don't like your game.
No, but
No.
Nutty Professor.
Yo, ban him. Yo, someone just ban him quickly.
What's wrong with Norbert Nutty Professor?
What do you mean Norbert?
Big Mama's house.
I'm done.
But listen. Let's get one thing. I wanted to mention this earlier, but
12 years a slave.
Let me leave it.
I'm done.
Django.
About 12 years a slave, I wanted to punch anyone in the cinema. I'm not gonna lie.
You might as well just say American History X and get it over with.
Wow.
That film still hits me, boy.
Nah, you just brought that. You brought that down at Octave.
Put it down, Jay, man. Put it down, Jay.
You have to go down there, man.
Like,
well, let that marinate. Let that marinate for a sec. But honestly, do you see how hard it is to just like? I would have thought I could have reeled them off one by one, but it's not that. It's not that easy.
I don't think we're thinking hard enough, to be fair. Actually, maybe it's just the era that we were born in.
Yeah, for the era that we're born in. But you
listeners, leave some comments. No,
I've got one.
Leave some comments if there's ones that we've missed.
Old school Sydney Poitier, yeah. Guess who's coming to dinner?
I haven't seen it, but
if you know, you know.
I have seen it. We might as well say Driving Miss Daisy, fam.
Space Jam.
Right, okay.
No, that's a story of a black man succeeding.
Colour Purple.
Nah.
You done it, fam.
Okay.
You done it.
Sister Act.
I'm done.
Okay, that's
bye.
Yeah, I want Sister Act on the list.
I would
especially two.
Yo, listeners, help us out here. We're clearly struggling.
No, we're not.
Help us out.
Sister Act stayed with me.
You cannot bring Sister Act.
You know?
What happened
if you wanna be somebody?
Say the last dance.
You wanna go somewhere? You better wake up. Attention. Cheese.
Okay, so that's the movie round ended. Yeah,
I won.
I'll give that barely a pass. We barely passed the movie round. Yeah. Now we're gonna go to TV shows, but the first TV show everyone has to mention has to be a UK-based TV show that showed.
You killed it. You killed it.
Everyone wants to say Fresh Prince, didn't they?
Yes.
First answer has to be
right, UK, The Crouchers.
Okay.
I haven't seen that.
Was that positive M? Yeah. Or did that appeal to stereotypes?
But there was something for us to kind of enjoy and relate.
What was the question, Jay?
So, TV shows. We're talking TV shows. Could be comedy TV shows.
Positive.
You said positive though, didn't you?
Positive.
Mostly positive. Predominantly positive. Boom. That's on my list. Desmond's was on my list. He was a black father. He had his own business. His son was well educated. Yep. His kids were all well educated. The son was a successful accountant. You know what I'm saying? It was grimy. It was jokes. It was mostly positive, I would say.
And the spin-off was pork pie. Just saying.
And pork pie. Yeah.
I don't want to hear that name. I don't want to hear that name.
So I had I had Desmond's.
I'm done.
So you got Desmond's, you got pork pie, you got the Crouches. Yeah, that's
the Crouches. What was the one? The black comedy one.
Real McCoy.
Real McCoy. Yeah.
Yeah.
But is that too stereotypical?
But once again, it did appeal.
Yeah, it did appeal to the masses. Goodness gracious me.
Yeah.
Check, please.
I'm done.
Okay.
Are there any current ones?
Right.
Have we got to go back to go forward? Oh my word. Are there any current ones?
Okay. Now it's
Forget
opened
the
up to
current
everywhere.
ones. It's actually worse now.
Now it's opened up to everywhere. Positive black TV shows, America,
Cosby
UK, Cosby Show, boom.
Fresh Prince.
Of course, legendary in the game.
My Wife and Kids.
Boom.
Yeah, 100.
It's a bit grimy sometimes.
Don't matter.
One
It
on
was
one.
mostly positive.
Everybody hates Curtis.
All of us.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Everybody hates Chris. That house was dysfunctional, man.
Was it though? Was it dysfunctional?
Was it? The dad was working like 3 jobs.
That
trying
worked
to
hard. Do you know what I
provide for
mean?
his family, make sure he was counting every penny.
Every penny and his father.
Mum
Jeez,
was disciplinary and making sure the kids got to school and whatnot.
But she couldn't keep a job though.
You know, what's the point? I'm trying to promote it, and you're just trying to knock it down. What's the point?
But that was the thing. I don't need this job. My husband works 3 jobs. I don't need this job. That was their thing.
So the man was. Wait a minute. Stop. So this is apparently positive. When a man literally has no time to sleep or even be a man in the household because he's out working for someone else and he doesn't own it, and they're living in the projects,
But they're working to try and get out.
No, they're not. They're working to stay there because.
Or they're working to survive. But still, the project. Just because you're in the projects, don't mean you can't have a successful life.
I didn't say that, but what I'm saying is it's a dysfunctional household.
But what is functional?
What is functional?
What is a functional household?
Where someone doesn't have
Is your woman?
Oh,
Is a woman keeping a job?
And Kate, are you going to answer this question from what you know?
No,
or
but
from-
what
or
I'm,
from
but
what
in
you
terms
see?
of the woman, no, using the woman as an example, saying that she can't keep a job, but is not saying that's the right way to be, but to, I guess, from a standpoint, like isn't that a privilege or a luxury? Like, so if you don't, if you're in a household and you know you're not happy with how things are going in your workplace, that if you was to kind of just drop back, it's not going to immediately end everything there and then. Not saying that's fair for the man, but I'm just saying, like, to have that kind of fallback in case, that's kind of like that having rainy day money. Like, if you needed to say, you know what, F you because you're disrespecting me, or F you because of this, or F you because of that, isn't that something that we don't have as a culture?
You need to have that conversation with your partner before you say F you, because the job is not just about you.
Of course, but I'm just saying that one should be on the list.
Anything else? Any other TV shows?
Stanford and Sons.
Stanford and Sons.
That sounds like a
That's
music
an old
group.
school one.
Mumford and Sons.
Love Thy Neighbor.
Mumford. Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's a good one.
Sister.
Okay.
Sister.
Sister.
Smart
I like
guy.
that.
Oh, it's smart guy. It was big.
Moesha.
Oh,
Moesha.
yeah. I forgot about Moesha. Oh, wow.
Tracy Beaker.
Come on, team, man.
She's trying to succeed.
What was that UK one?
Stormzy sampled that in his album, though, isn't it?
What was that?
Stormzy sampled that Tracy Beaker tune.
What was that one where there's 3 sisters? Was it called Cleopatra or something?
That's a music band, man.
coming at you, boy.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
They did have a.
They
That's
did.
UK.
They did.
That's
They did.
UK.
That's
They did have a
UK
TV
as well.
show.
That's in that's
Right,
UK.
still.
Ready, steady, cook.
Why are you going? What is this?
Wait, wait. You mean when Ainsley was the host, yeah?
No,
Wow.
Ryland.
No, I don't agree with that.
you
That
lot
was
are
not a
taking this.
positive outcome. That was not a positive outcome.
What, Ainsley?
No.
Hold on a minute. You're going back
Wow.
to UK, Mr. Motivator.
Ah,
You know what?
Boom, Mr. Mo. He was teaching health
Exactly.
You know what?
From early.
Mr.
Before Joe Wicks, boy, there was Mr.
He was teaching health and exercise.
Original Dan.
Mr. Motivator was the original, man. Like, listeners, look him up, man. Don't watch the clothes. You have to remember it was way back then. Rare. That might be seen as a different light nowadays, but back then he was the guy, man.
Every morning, boy, you wake up.
GMTV, boy.
You know what I mean?
All right,
Mr. M.
Okay, so we got. I think we got more TV shows than movies.
Yeah,
managed to get out of us.
Once again, listeners, if we've missed out any, then please drop a comment. I'm sure I forgot one.
So
but a lot of them American based, which is
a lot of them are American based. That's why I said I want to hear the UK ones first.
Yeah.
Okay, round 3. Name me one musician that makes positive music. Any genre, any era musician.
For the most part, Bob Marley.
Boom.
Why do you say that one first?
Wow. He took the best one.
I'm sorry, but no, we didn't take the best one.
No,
we can do better than that. Sorry.
All right, it's a baseline.
I'm not even sorry, actually.
I'm going in there. R. Kelly.
Nah.
Before
what we found out. Before we found out.
R. Kelly before we found out.
I don't think there was a before. To be fair.
Wow.
However.
Okay, Michael Jackson before.
Whoa.
Before.
Going back to R. Kelly. Going back to R. Kelly. Yeah. I'll say this with my chest. You can't deny that is music. Music
in the game.
It moved me. Like somebody step in the name of love.
Actually, now that you brought up, I've got something about that. Right? That's me standing neutral. His case.
Yeah.
A documentary was made before he was indicted.
Yeah.
Now, exactly. That's the point. Whether you done it or not, I don't know. I watched the documentary and I thought what everyone thought. But to me, was that due process?
Not at all. That was slander. That's what that was.
So any jury in the world would have found him guilty before he even started.
Yeah.
So we can have opinions whether that was right or whether he did it, whether he did not do it. But for me, this is another thing we didn't include where someone was absolutely obliterated, like in media, before any charges were dropped on him.
He was completely vilified. Completely.
That's a whole different podcast.
I stopped there, but I just thought since you brought it up, I was like, actually, I wanted to bring it up earlier, but that's what happened.
Yeah.
Chronics.
Okay, I'll take that.
Okay, yeah, I actually would agree with that.
Anyone else?
Most of my reggae playlists, I'd say.
We've got lots, man. We've got
Freddie McGregor, Dennis Emmanuel Brown.
We've got Stevie Wonder. We've got
Stevie.
I'll take that.
Lionel Richie.
Lionel, definitely.
Yeah.
Lionel, yeah. Hello.
We've got
Marvin Gaye.
Marvin Gaye.
Yeah.
I'll take that.
Isley Brothers.
Yeah, Isley Brothers.
Big in the game.
Yeah, big in the game.
Luther.
Commodores. Yeah, 100% Luther.
Luther Vandross.
We got
100% Luther.
We got them.
You know, I'm going to pull out my Luther. You know, now you said that.
I'm not the biggest fan. I'm not gonna lie, but yeah,
I'm a big fan of Luther.
You're the soul guy, bro. You're the soul guy.
Yeah, but Luther's the commercial soul to me, but that's
bro.
You need to go into his catalog.
Sorry, I need to
go into his catalog. You need to go into his catalog, Dred.
Yeah,
like I haven't been in his catalog.
No, you haven't, bro.
I wouldn't make them statements if I didn't. Anyway,
nah, you just look at the menu. You didn't turn it around.
I'm not look at the menu.
You know what though? On
you not talking to?
Yeah.
Jay,
you must take control of this podcast, man. Because honestly, I don't know the back catalog.
Before hip hop,
Before hip hop.
Any black artist you want to name before hip hop? You're talking about soul, jazz. They're all positive, man. I don't care what no one says. All of them.
Okay.
You
Name
smacked it with the jazz,
me
man.
some
You
hip hop.
smacked it.
Name me some hip hop guys that are positive.
Name me
Twister.
some. Sorry.
Some hip hop artists that are positive, show black people positively.
Twister.
Talib Kweli.
KRS-One.
KRS-One, definitely.
Public Enemy.
Public Enemy. Wu-Tang.
Minus Flavor Flav.
No.
Wait, stop.
No.
The most successful person.
No.
I was about to say that.
Well, Flavor Flav is just a character.
Flavor Flav.
You guys have got to put some respect on Flavor Flav's name, Jake.
I do, but I can't stand him.
I can't stand him either. I'm not gonna lie.
He killed it when he made that show that whatever.
Flavor of Love. Flavor of Love.
Oh,
Yeah, Flavor of Love.
Bro,
That's when he lost it for me.
Yeah,
All
to
the
get his
stereotypes
bag,
were
man.
put on table. All the stereotypes were put on the table.
Yeah, to get that bag.
For money.
Let him live, man. Let
Don't
him
knock a
live.
man's
That's,
hustle, man.
but that's the problem, though. Though he built. This is exactly what we were talking about. He accepted this is our stereotype. Get some big booty girls and then be a stereotypical black man, and that made him money. We wish it did.
What is a
This is the
stereotypical
problem.
black man, just for the listeners?
Well, in terms of negative stereotypes, I'll tell you loads.
No.
No,
As a whole, no, you gotta say own it, Kate. Own it.
As a whole, let's go by stats.
The only
What
reason
is
I say
stereotype?
the only reason I say that is because obviously I would never think that Flavor Flav. I'd never say he is a stereotypical black man. I don't
Did
know.
he or did he not buy into the stereotype of what people see as negative connotations for black men?
He was over animated. He was.
But
No, it's a question. Did he or did he not?
Who sees
The
that?
jester.
Who sees that
The
as
entertainer.
negative? Who's seeing that as negative? Us? Do we see that as negative? Like,
Well, is that helping you?
I do.
Yeah.
I
that
see it as
helping you?
negative because he's portraying me in a different light. Just like when they portray us in the way we talk and everything else,
Yeah,
we
I
don't
get-
all talk like
no, I get
people on the
that.
street.
I get that, but that's
And who wears the dumb clocks on their necks? Come on, man.
But that's what I'm
that
saying.
actually represented something
Get out
deeper.
of
No. That clock,
Nah,
that clock represented something deeper. What it actually represented
Isn't
was
about,
the rise of black people in terms of now you know what time it is.
Oh, so that's slightly positive.
I don't
That's-
care. That clock to me was not the one.
That's why
Sorry.
he unwore that, man.
So he was actually trying to communicate to us, like through his
Public Enemy.
means.
The Public Enemy.
But
is
it didn't help with all the women's booty
No.
in the face.
Well,
It didn't. I started
no.
to not see the clock anymore and just saw the foolishness.
Yeah.
You
So
started-
did you lot know there was an actual agenda when Public Enemy was at their height to bring in their counterpart in NWA to stop it being hip hop and to turn it into now rap?
Okay, no, I didn't know that. And Professor Griff was part of that Public Enemy, by the way. Beginning
Yeah, he got booted out for anti-Semitic ideology.
That's another podcast. We need to discuss what Semitic is and what Semitic means, and Semite
For sure.
means. But that's another podcast.
So we got some good artists. I'll say we passed that one. Yeah. So the last part of this one, I'm looking for some sporting personalities that tend to portray us positively. You know, maybe stay away from scandals, keep to themselves. Philanthropists, charitable organizations, and stuff like that. Can you name me a few? Worldwide.
Yeah, Troy Townsend. His son plays for his name. I miss his name.
Andros.
Sorry about that. Yes, Andros Townsend. Yeah, and Troy Townsend, the father. He heads up kick it out of football. Kick racism out of football. Yeah, so he heads up that. That's my positive. Role model, so to speak.
When it comes with music, Akon, man. I think he's doing.
Yeah, but he had that scandal, didn't he, about the girl? Remember?
Yes, but he's
And-
making moves, man.
Yeah, but it's not-
100%.
Yeah, but so was
However-
Gaddafi.
However,
And she was a Trinidadian girl as well. I just want to point that out.
I have a lot of time for Gaddafi.
Yeah,
That's just one other
100%.
podcast. We can break into that on another date and another time.
but
100%.
Akon did. He took on a false persona to get into the game, just like Rick Ross.
I agree.
But anyway, but for what he done, like what he's trying to do, like in his like native lands, you have to
Quick
respect.
question on that. is there a problem with taking Chinese money and being in debt to China for the betterment of your own country?
That is definitely another podcast, man. Like,
Listen, let's not go into that because that's another passion that being African myself and watching what's happening over there, I've got a strong opinion on that. So let's do another podcast on that.
Fair enough.
Now, I just wanted to throw that out there for another podcast. So yeah, back to some sporting personalities that are doing it positively. I would say Lewis Hamilton, one for me. Most recently, he is like surprised me. I like how he's moving, man.
I like how he's moving, man. It's almost like something just rise up in his spirit, man. And he's jumping on this thing, man. And he's using... This is the respect thing. We understand, Jeff, if you have a lot, you also have a lot to lose.
Yeah.
Now, if you got a lot to lose and you're still willing to say, you know what, I'm from this nation and I'm not happy with what's going on with my people and how they're being treated.
Yeah.
That takes so much more power than me or you saying it, brothers.
Mm-hmm.
It takes so much more. Now he's being dragged into the media. He knew that before he said anything. He knew what they would do. And he still said, it's more important for me to speak while I have this platform, because he knows you're not in the F1 for like the rest of your life, are you? There's a finite time. Now, when that finite time ends, what do you want to be known as? What's your legacy? Now, if your legacy is, I'm just going to keep quiet, earn my money and go, then you do that. Yeah? You're not going to get no respect from me if you don't stand up for something. He stood up, and I respect that, man. Big time.
Yep. Most recently, that young tennis girl, I forgot what her name is. It like Naomi something?
Yes.
Osaka. Naomi,
yeah.
is that Osaka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love her, man.
Even Serena.
I was about to say
Serena,
the sisters, both sisters,
the Venus,
really.
Venus as well. Yeah.
Jeez.
What about AJ?
What's the
AJ?
AJ,
Joshua,
AJ, yeah. Not as much as what's been mentioned though. I don't think not as much as what's been mentioned, but Colin Kaepernick. You guys know who Colin Kaepernick
Yeah.
Colin
is?
Kaepernick, NFL player.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
LeBron
Yeah.
James.
Yeah,
LeBron James. I don't
LeBron.
know, man. The thing is with LeBron James, yeah. You know that he's playing now, right?
Yeah.
Who called him?
What do you mean?
Who called him to influence him to go back playing?
I don't know.
No,
Barack
The
Obama.
owners.
Barack
Obama.
Obama.
Oh, you're talking about from the
And Michael
playoff
Jordan.
shutout.
And
Yeah.
Michael Jordan.
Thank you. What? Hear this. He's taken a step back, and because he's influential, he's almost not I wouldn't say forefronting, but he's one of the top fronters for removing basketball players of ethnic minority, particularly black, from the basketball league in terms of playing because they're not being represented or heard well. Why did Michael Jordan and Barack Obama speak to LeBron James personally to influence him to come back on? I'm going back to this magic thing. What's another word for influence?
Persuade.
Persuade, and it's all to do what?
Convince.
Convince, yeah.
Which ultimately is controlling. I want to control your movements. So now I have to ask, who influenced Michael Jordan and Barack Obama to call LeBron James?
Yeah.
Ooh. I
Yeah,
tell Mali, that's a
But,
Since
but
we're
overall-
going there,
LeBron has done a lot.
Yeah, LeBron.
He's done a lot. He's done an
justice,
absolute
I
lot.
think, yeah.
The guy's a don. The guy's a complete don. And I feel that he has, again, like Lewis Hamilton, put his neck on the line many times. Even before this whole Black Lives Movement, he was still doing things. He didn't wait to a whole media outcry. You know what I mean? Before he started speaking about his people, he was on it. He was about his people from day one. Always has been. Yeah, and I completely got enough respect for the guy. But I'm just understand the inner workings that is going on here. Why would Barack Obama, a previous ex-president, call LeBron to convince him to carry on dribbling that ball?
How did that come about? How was that known?
Oh, that's in media. That's in media. Same with Michael Jordan. That's in media.
Yeah, they came out. It came out publicly. Michael, there was a few other black players as well that this wasn't gonna be part of it, and yeah, Michael Jordan, a call to action, rousted them out.
But why?
Onto the court.
Because technically, he's doing it for your people. So what? So why are you now being house slave? You're being the house slave, getting the field slave to carry on working. I'm done.
Marcus Rashford
Rashford, big boy,
and
he's been doing
Sterling.
a lot. Sterling,
Wiley.
as well. I would take that to some extent.
Wiley.
I was gonna give him an honourable mention before the podcast was out.
So who's this Wiley guy? Why do you mention him?
Free Wiley.
Listen. I'm gonna be 100% here. Wiley made his move, and he
You don't have to
predicted
answer that, by the way.
everything. No, I am going to answer it because now that we mentioned it, I will say my case. Wiley made his move, rightly or wrongly, that's up for debate. But he predicted everything that was going to happen and how it would happen.
Ooh, he did.
100%.
And the way he got dealt with was never done. It had never been done before. When there are other people out there who have been way worse in terms of controversy, in terms of
Katie Hopkins.
yeah, let's name a few.
Tommy Robinson.
Yeah, right. We can, and the new guy the guy that was on Twitter.
Yeah,
about Rashford, right? These people have not seen any sort of action, but someone makes a statement
About certain individuals.
Yep, and then he gets, like I said, what he said, rightly or wrongly, is up for debate. You pick your side. However, the actions that followed that should tell you what really is going on. That's what I'm saying. So that's why I'm mentioning him. I'm mentioning him. I don't care what no one says. I'll mention him with my chest.
Yeah, I was going to give him an honourable mention along with Nick Cannon as well. I was going to give Nick Cannon an honourable mention.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can we not call it honourable?
Because if you like Nick Cannon, he has done a lot for young black people, and he's been an activist for many years. Like he's been an activist.
Yeah, but
you can't put him on the same level as Wiley because
I'm not putting him on the same level. I'm saying there's just a mention of people who have done certain things, but then when the gavel comes falling down,
yeah, he was a bit soft, man. He was a bit.
Yeah, he was more than a bit soft. No, say that with your chest, Kate. He was more than a bit soft. He was quick to come with that foolish PR apology. Yeah,
I couldn't stand the amount of gums he was showing when he was sitting down with a certain person. I couldn't stand the amount of teeth he was showing. The smile was too much for me. I was like, Nick, you don't want to smile that hard. And you don't even want to say what you're saying right now, but you have to because your money's getting affected by it.
How should his face have been then? Dead face?
Well, you gotta say that. There's no context behind that, but because
I think we could show that there are people out there in the media and entertainment that risk themselves, that are not afraid to stand up, not afraid to speak out. Stormzy, yep, definitely.
100%.
100%, man. Yeah, definitely. Stormzy, you got ratings.
Dave,
yeah. Quite. Oh yes, Dave is very vocal.
Then we go recent Ashley Banjo diversity and that.
Diversity, and look at the backlash.
20,000 complaints. 20,000.
I was gonna mention it. There's
too many podcasts, but season 2 is going to be on a Mazza. But yeah,
we might have a season 1.5, you know, season 2.
You know what I mean? Pre-season.
Yeah, I mean, pre-season.
One step away to pre-season.
Pre-season meat.
Which shows that there are examples of people that look like us from our background that using their platform to highlight and combat social injustice, especially towards melanated people.
And there's definitely people that we missed out as well. So
can I just say though, Definitely, we missed out a few. But the other thing I want to stress out on is, we don't back them. And
Yeah.
I'm putting myself in this. When these people stick their necks out on the line, we don't back them. That's why sometimes then the actions that falls on their head when the gavel comes down, like you said, is more severe because we don't back them. You know, say what you want about the Katie Hopkins and Vince or Vance, whatever his name is, and Tony Robinson. When they come out and put their necks on the line, they're backed.
That's true.
Yeah.
They're backed by
And I
their
think
people. And we don't
that
do that.
yeah, that fully speaks to my last point, my last question, which is what can be done to combat these negative stereotypes of black people within the industry. And I think definitely that's one of the biggest things. If we back those positive people, that can go a long way to helping other people feel empowered to say their mind and speak and know that they have their own people behind them. Can anyone think of any other things that can be done, either individually, collectively, or are we just fighting a losing battle against these big corporations that control the narrative?
Well, if you're talking about fighting against corporations, then yes, that will be a losing battle. Like there's no point creating corporations to rival that is a different subject. But I've said this time and time again. The ways that we can combat it is just being smart, like just knowing, like amongst the group. Like we recently saw something on like morning television where we clearly saw a black man just literally, like he was trying to just have a normal debate on ITV, Good Morning Britain, or whatever it is, about just another topic about national anthems and songs that are sung and are they appropriate, whatnot, which is another podcast. But that was just the wrong platform for him to be on, to have a fair shake, as they say. Like, we need to understand and be smart to know what platforms, if we are going to put ourselves on a platform, we need to know what all the rules of that game is and then make a decision. Okay, do you still want to go on there? So, for example, that I forgot his name, but once again, that will be another link that I'll add. If he was told, oh, by the way, towards the end, we're going to make you look like the extremist, and we're going to have all this information of other national anthems that don't even make sense to the context of the argument. We're going to throw all that at you and then overtalk you and then control it by the fact that we've got to move on to something else. Would he have still gone on there? So my point is, we need to be smarter. Like the stereotypes are out there to be seen, because unfortunately there has to be a responsibility. Stereotypes aren't just made up. Actually, for the most part, stereotypes are not made up. They're based on something. So the more we feed into that something, that's how big or that's how long the stereotype will last. However, what we need to be smart and we need to understand, and the listeners need to kind of say, you know what, I can see through that. You might see something like, we're not saying don't, like, if you want to enjoy certain things or watch certain films that kind of play into that, whatever, like we've all got kind of our own vices and stuff like that. Like, that's fine. We're not saying like to completely switch off just like that, but just take it with a pinch of salt, or just look in between or read between the lines. Like, we've got to be smarter to understand what's really going on here. That's the main message that I would say. Like, understand what's really going on before you make that judgment call, or before you kind of make your stance. Just kind of just do your homework on what's being put in front of you through the mediums of your phone, television, radio. Like, it's too easy to be consumed by the immediate thing that you hear or see. But there's layers. There's always a layer to most things in life. So you just got to be. All I ask is for people just to. And I think there has been like a massive. There's still a lot of work to be done. There's been a massive wisening up to what's going on, but we just need to speed it up a little bit to get to where we need to be. And that's for everyone. Any listen, that's for everyone. Open your eyes, because it only makes our journey easier if we've got more people's eyes open to the negative stuff that's happening. And yeah, shout out to the people that are seeing that. And I'm not talking about just people of color, but people that are trying to kind of open other people's eyes that need to see certain things.
For sure, 100%.
100%. I'll jump on the back of that. Perfect example is when Dizzy was on Good Morning TV and he pulled up what's his
Piers
name?
Morgan.
Piers Morgan. He pulled him up and said, look, I'm not getting into that. I'm on here to promote my show, and that's that. So he pulled him up, and that type of insight there, that type of knowing when someone's trying to lead you into something else that you're not there for, is that's the trick that we need to learn. I second everything that Em just said there, because in that are the lessons, there are gems in there. There are lessons that we need to learn in order to make our platform strong and our foundation strong. So yeah, bang on. That's 100. I rate that.
Jeez. Yep.
And also, just to add on that, there's people on the other side who are being sent to do the dirty work as well. You also need to open up. Like, for example, I'll go back to Wiley, the interview, because it always seems the case when something happens high profile and there's controversy, they will send your counterpart, your fellow black sister or black brother to come and do the interview, right? You got to watch the motive behind that as well. And if you yourself are in that position and you think, oh, this is your chance to shine by smearing another person, your fellow brother, your fellow sister, you're wrong.
Yeah, 100%.
You're wrong for that. Because it's not the first time I've seen it. I've seen it a few times. Ara Kelly had an interview with a female presenter, a black female presenter. Yeah. I saw that.
Gayle King?
And yeah, I think that was her name. And then, that ran like wildfire. Same thing with Wiley. I've seen it on a few occasions. That's happened. And we people are not clocking on to what exactly is going on there.
Yep.
Yep,
Just
for sure.
to jump on, because that's something that I forgot to mention about using the Wiley situation for an example. So we clearly can see after everything that happened, where he got shut down very quickly, then he had an interview with, was it Sky? And they brought in,
it was Sky. Yeah,
they brought in a black interviewer to him, and you can see what was done there. But this is how deep it goes. I wasn't even concerned by the fact that obviously they've got a black interviewer to kind of speak to Wiley. I was more interested in how that whole segment was filmed. If you look back at it again, the person behind the camera is shaky camera all the way through. Like, and when I saw it immediately, I was like, they're trying to make him out like he's crazy. Like, because obviously Wiley's quite eccentric in terms of how he expresses himself and whatnot. But if you add on like a shaky cam and kind of like it's a candid cam where some of the shots are like behind like a bush or something to make it out look like, we can't get too close to him because it's crazy and whatnot, that changes the narrative so quick. So yes, they obviously got someone that has the same skin color or the same kind of background, but this is what we're talking about in terms of higher level of thinking. Like, yeah, you can see that because it's in front of you, but look at the things that are happening that you're not even conscious of. Go back to the Sky interview and see, even you guys, if you haven't seen it properly, or anyone that's listening, look at how the camera position is. Look how it's shaking and how they've angled it, where it's just making like Wiley seem like someone that you have to kind of be at distance. He's said so many outlandish things apparently that you have to kind of be careful. Like the camera, like just look at the and that's a whole. If anyone's ever done, any listeners have done media studies or anything like that, that's another way of influencing
psychology.
people or making people feel a certain way. Like if we just use Hollywood or movies as an example, there are in any film, like if you're kind of trying to be a direct, there's certain things that are done that represent certain things. Like I could just off the top of my head, like there's certain camera positions, certain kind of background music or scores that you use to create a certain feeling. We just have to be smart. I'm not saying that like throw all your DVDs away or cancel your Netflix subscription, but I'm just saying when you are watching stuff, you have to watch it with two minds. If you're watching it with the one naive mind, and I'll say that with my chest, because there's a lot of people that watch and absorb everything naively, if that's a word, but it makes sense. And that's what it is. They take it for what it is. So if
They're
I
quite
see,
gullible, aren't they?
well, yeah, it's not even. It's just you've just been conditioned and programmed to kind of accept and believe the first thing that you hear, because you respect, like you've been brought up to respect television stations or corporations or certain programs, because apparently these seem like respectable people. But this is a game, and you have to understand like the people that are kind of maneuvering. Like if we just take, and I'm gonna stop because I know I'm gonna, but if you take media as an example of, and let's just use the UK, we think that we're watching this program, this channel, whatever, or we read this newspaper or that newspaper. If you kind of do the background checks behind a lot of stuff, the funnel goes to only a few people or group of people, the Murdochs of the world. So we think that we're being given all this information from different sources, but as you kind of go further and further and understand and see the background, actually know everything that we think is different and variety, and it goes to like products that we consume as well. It all like it. Oh man, like this is
It more or less all comes from the same source.
so. Yeah, man, I'm done, man. I'm done.
Just
Anyone
to
else?
add on, sorry,
Mhm.
Jay, just to add on what Em said, I'd forgotten about these 2 points and it just reminded me. And also, every time, whether we're victims, there's always a background story on us. And the picture, it's never a picture of someone in a suit, innocent smiling. It's a picture of either you've got a hoodie, serious face, a chain. Those little games, like Em said, watch that because it's there. I was watching
Oh my
another
word.
topic when this boy got tasered by police, got paralyzed, but still they had to bring back about, or he had been arrested before, and they had to show his mugshot. You paralyze the person. He's a victim in this situation. But the message you're portraying, even though you're saying he's a victim with your mouth, by the images and everything else that you're bringing forward, is saying otherwise.
Yeah.
Right? And how many headlines have we seen on newspapers or they call them clickbaits now? But it says one thing, and then actually when you go down to read the story itself, it's completely different.
Yep. Tactics.
Come on, like watch these things.
Trickery, man.
Sorry, I've got to come back. This is something that has grinded my gears for so many years, and once I've said this, I'm done. Yeah. The amount of times I've made comments and like when this happened, like even things like on Britain's Got Talent or what do you call it, X Factor, normally Britain's Got Talent, those kind of shows, the same. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but when this has happened more than once, when when I do like the sob stories and then they build up like suspense of if they're going to get accepted or not. For me, and maybe it's just because I've heard it so many times, but when it's someone of color that gets through and we've heard their story and they've made it to the next round, why did I always play R. Kelly? Why did I always play like I Believe I Can Fly? Like once it erupts and yes, they got in. It's always I Believe I Can Fly. I'm sorry, I know I'm not the only one that experiences this. Or am I the crazy black guy? I don't know.
Yeah, you are. Ban him.
I'm done, man. I'm done. But Britain's Got Talent, X Factor. They try to change it sometimes, but it's always like when you got oh my words.
It is, man. I know what you're talking about.
So, I suppose I'll put in my little 2 pence. Fully hearing every single one of you lot, and levels once again. This is why we are one step away from, because we come with all sorts of knowledge and we're able to discuss and diagnose the information as well, and then segment it out and obviously put it out to the listeners, and you lot can all hear and have your own opinions and do your own research. from in terms of what I am going to be putting forward. So I usually like to come with a definition of things at the beginning, and then we can break it down throughout. However, I looked at the Oxford Dictionary definition of entertainment, and it says that it is the action of providing or being provided with amusement or enjoyment. Yeah, that is what entertainment is, and we're talking about the entertainment industry. So, Frederick Douglass, does anyone here know who Frederick Douglass is?
Yep.
Rings a bell.
No, I don't know.
He was a slave.
I don't know.
He's an abolitionist, wasn't he?
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yep. He said this in terms of, because this is all about how we're going to make sure we don't get into this environment, or at least combat it. Yeah. So Frederick Douglass made it clear why an educated slave was a dangerous slave. He said, the more I read, the more I was led to abhor and detest my enslavers. Frederick Douglass.
Wow.
Information, people, knowledge. When you start to obtain these things, your eyes start to open. The veil of confusion and deceit starts to get removed, and you start to see what you've always been living in. It's not cotton fields in terms of softness, but the analogy is quite similar to what it could be in terms of the analogy of what we are doing. But it's not rainbows and all niceness and rose fields and all stuff like that. It's not that. And the more you read, according to Frederick Douglass, the more he was led to abhor and detest my enslavers. Who are your enslavers, is what I ask. And are you obtaining knowledge? Secondly, I looked into a piece of literature called Influence and Passivity in Social Media, done by Romero et al., 2011. He spoke on two things: influence and passivity. He tries to move people onto, in order to combat these social directives, you must move from being a passive consumer. So you're just watching, you're just clicking, viewing stuff, liking stuff, not actually creating or trying to change anything, just absorbing the information and not doing nothing with that. That's passive. You become an influencer when you start to pass that knowledge that you've absorbed on, when you start to digest that and come out with solutions. You become an influencer. Almost could be related to what we have done in the past. We've talked for many years, not on a social media platform. We've kept it within our circles, per se. There's many variables to that. But now we're on the stepping stone of becoming an influencer. We are tired of having the information ourselves. We want to build from it and inform others so they can build. The third and last point I want to make, and here's the deep one. The third point is 2 points in one. Call out the manipulative users of race in the media and public discourse. When you see them, call them out. Don't just hear it and complain or feel a certain way. Do something. If someone says something in public discourse or in social media or any media outlet or entertainment industry or whatever, call them out. They have to be put in the limelight. They have to be held accountable for their decisions, for their words. Secondly, the suggestion is to offer hope. Promote stages of solutions and success stories. So another way to combat this is for every 10 negative stories of Black people or portrayed in negative light in music and in film and in sport, we should also be putting out positive ones, because clearly the media isn't interested in doing that. So someone's got to do it. The influencers do it. Have to start putting out. We have to at least throw it out there. So hopefully someone might stumble upon it. Amongst the 10 negative ones, there should at least be 1 or 2 positive ones, so you can at least have a chance. If no one says anything about positive things that black people are doing, or at least puts it out on social media around positive things that black people are doing, then there's zero chance. I'll rather have a 5% chance of finding something positive on black people than zero. So that's our that's our responsibility as black people. Whenever and there's many positive stories, but just because it doesn't earn a few million or doesn't have a few million views, then we don't show attention to it. We've got to change our mindset if we want to change their narrative. We've got to change our mindset if we've got to build within. So that's my points I want to put forward in terms of how we're going to combat this. And it can be done.
You know what, yeah? When I thought of this question, I'm so glad like I have people like you guys in my life that come from different perspectives, because the majority of what you said I really didn't even think about. It wasn't like at the forefront of my mind. So I'd like to thank you guys for giving me a wider insight, a more breadth of knowledge, more ideas to think about on what we can do to combat this. Be it from us thinking, being smarter, thinking more about our actions, what we ingest, what we regurgitate, us taking ownership of our actions, us taking ownership of how our culture is viewed, creating these new other outlets to show positivity. You know what I mean? Like, those are things that definitely can be done. That can be done on an individual level, can be done on a collective level. And I think that would bring us one step closer to creating these platforms and companies and organizations that can compete with those that are in charge and that do tend to push us in a negative light. Do you know what I'm saying? And make sure that we're several steps away from being that negative stereotype in the media, in sports, in film. So yeah, I really appreciate you guys for that insight. It gave me a lot more to think about. For those of the listeners out there, you can, when it comes to music, you know what I mean? Buy local, like just like your produce, buy locally. Support independent artists, support independent filmmakers, support independent designers, creators, influencers, visionaries that tend to push a positive narrative, not only for black culture, but just for humanity on the whole, man. There's so many people out there that preach positive messages, love and light, but just don't get the time of day because they're overshadowed by these corporations who want to push violence and over sexualization and all these sort of things that really are not good for our psyche and not good to help us build, not good to help us grow. So yeah, definitely a lot to think about.
Just
I
to
hope
add,
we've
just to add, 'cause this is important, and I fall in this category as a parent. The battle is very strong, and what I mean by that is because I think some of the guys have mentioned certain things that I am living right now in terms of seeing what my children are consuming, and just like it's all about likes, or whether it's TikTok or YouTube Kids and all this. And when I'm hearing certain things, I'm like, nah, this is yes. Sometimes it's good where kids can just chill and do stuff, but just be careful. And when I say this on the recording, I'm saying it to myself because I know there's a lot more that I can do to kind of make sure that my kids ain't falling down that spiral. And whether it's games as well, certain games like I'm seeing the effects they have on children and my children. And I have to put a stop to it, or not a stop to it, but I have to kind of just be conscious. So when I've got to live with my words, like when I'm seeing and hearing certain things, I've got to listen and hear with two mindsets. Because some of the conversations that you hear kids talk, oh, I've got this amount of likes on TikTok or this or whatever. It can be very dangerous because remember, we had a world without this type of technology and media and stuff like that. So we can still hold on to kind of some of the things that were there or weren't there beforehand. Our children, our children, this has always been their world. just be conscious of that, and be conscious of the fact that if we want to watch something growing up, like we had to be there. Like I can honestly say, like, I don't think many kids actually know how to kind of use a television nowadays as much. It's mad. Like if you want to watch something, you had to be there at that time, or you had to kind of record it or stuff, like, or find somewhere to record, or you speak about it. But information is passing through so quick, and if information is being passed through quicker than it ever has before, that means more negative information is getting through to our minds quicker than ever before.
That's true.
So
I think
that's
social media and its growth and its influence is a whole nother podcast as well that we definitely need to touch on.
Yes.
For sure. So is there anything else anyone else wants to mention before I wrap it up?
Not at all, brother. It was a very,
Nah, go ahead,
very
man.
strong podcast. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Thank you.
Yes.
Like all the podcasts you've done so far, I've really enjoyed this one. I really enjoyed sitting down and listening to you guys' point of views and sharing my point of views as well. I hope you, the listeners and the viewers, found that as well. Enjoyed what we've been talking about. Once again, we are One Step Away From Podcast. That's the number 1 SAF. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Twitter. You can find us on Facebook. We're on Spotify, One Step Away From. Apple Podcast, Anchor Podcasts. We're everywhere. One step away from, you'll find us, yeah? So, until next time, we have another pressing topic for you guys. I wish you guys the best, all the best wishes. And yeah, that's how we do it, one step away from Anaya.
Business place.
Yeah.